This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so in the previous session, we were looking at the number functions. And the number functions, if we just recall them very quickly. So the functions we saw was the absolute function, which is a dummy function. And we saw the maximum, minimum functions. And we saw the ceiling, floor functions. And very importantly, we saw Zn function. All right. So today we'll talk about the next type of category, which is a string functions. Right. So before we start, can anyone quickly confirm? Can you hear me and see the screen? Otherwise, I'll be talking to no one. So can you see my screen and hear me? Can anyone confirm in the chat window?
Yes, sir.
Sir, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Thank you. Thank you. Just a formality to see that you are able to listen. All right, so we'll get started then. We'll talk about the second type of functions, which are the string functions. All right, so what is a string function? So generally, what do we call a string? So string is nothing but the group of characters. So group of characters is nothing but a string. And yes, now for this group of characters, we have some defined functions by Tableau, which we call it as string functions. And let's take a look at it now. So how to create a calculated field? So this time I'll create from the analysis tab and create a calculated field. All right, and let's put here the string, and we can see there are these many values in the string functions, isn't it? So in these functions here, so we can see that there are some functions related to regular expressions. Right, so what is this called as? The x is nothing but the regular expressions. So this is a separate beautiful concept, so which we will pick it up at the end of the sessions, or at the end of Tableau we'll pick up this, because it takes one complete class to understand the regular expressions. All right, so we are definitely going to see that, but we'll pick up at the end. And so apart from these now, so we'll take a look at most of the functions here. All right, the very first function, which is ASCII, and so I'm only interested in the function name, what is the input, what is the output. So what does this ASCII function do here is, it is asking me, give me the input of a string. Remember, in Tableau, the strings can be passed in two ways. Strings can be passed or used in two ways. So what are they? So we can pass a string in single quotes, or you have to definitely use double quotes. Right? So a string has to be passed in two ways. All right, so it can be a single quotes or a double quotes. But for a number, we did not have any restriction. Okay. Now, because it is asking give me input as a string, now I'm trying to give something in a single quotations. String means I can pass one character or more than one character or a group of characters. Okay, let's say here I say one character T. It is a capital. What happens? What is the output of this function? So click apply. Okay, where is that coming now? So that means the output of this function is coming as a measure. That means the output is something like a number. So we are getting some number as an output. Okay, so I want a discrete one. So then just drag that into any of the fields here and then pull that into this area. Let's wait for a second till we see the answer. Okay, so we are getting the output as 84. Why did I get 84? All right, so that means there is some mechanism which takes inputs as a character and which is giving the output as a number. So to understand that, so what is ASCII here? So ASCII stands for American Standard Code for Information Interchange. Lengthy definition, sir. We don't need that. Yes. So in simple terms, every character of your keyboard has a unique number. So in simple way of understanding what is ASCII here, ASCII is a code and every character of the keyboard contains one unique number, and that number will be common across every country, and that's why they made it as a standard. So can I see the list of ASCII values now? Yes, definitely. Just go to Google and say ASCII table. So only one certification question here, so that's why I'm picking up this function. Otherwise, this is also not really needed for the interview purpose or day-to-day use. We don't really use this, but once we got it in the certification. So ASCII table. So ASCII stands for American Standard Code for Information Interchange. Now let's open any table here. Let's go to image and let's pick up any table. All right, so this is the table. Let me maximize that. And if you observe here, every character has got a unique number. And only thing what is important for you or for anyone, observe the numbers from 0 to 9. So 0 has also got unique number, it is 48. So it ends at 57. And capital A starts at 65 and capital Z ends at 90. Similarly, small a, small z. So if you remember only these numbers, that is more than sufficient. So the ASCII value of t, which we used here, so what is the value for t? It is 84, and that is the reason you are getting 84 as the output. So you just have to remember the ASCII values of capital A, small a, and 0. So if you remember at least these three things, then it is very much sufficient here. All right, and now observe if I use any other single character, let's say small a, apply. So small a is 97, and that is what you are getting from this list. Okay, and one small certification question here is, so what is the ASCII value of, if the ASCII value of small a is 97, and what is the ASCII value of the word apple? This is the question. All right, so what they're asking here is, sir, single characters we have the numbers, then if I type the words, then what is for A, what is for B, what is for P, what is for L, what is for E? Should I write like that? So small a is somewhere between 97, so P may be somewhere 109, 110. Then how should I write it? Should I add all these numbers? No, remember only one point here. Even though it is a string, or even though it is only one character, system always looks at the first character of that string. Even if you write a very lengthy paragraph also, now what is the output of this word? It is again 97 only, because the system always looks at what is the first character and what is the ASCII value of the first character. So after this first character, whatever you write, it really doesn't consider. All right, so this is only one certification question. Okay, so that's something about the ASCII function. And exactly the reverse of it is the second function, which is a character function. So what does it tells us here? So character. Oh, observe the input. How many inputs? One input. That should be the integer again. Okay, if I say here, let's say 100. If I say apply, so what is the ASCII value of the, let's put it in a reverse way. So for this number 100, what is a unique character? So that character is coming as T. So if you observe the table, so the 100 stands for T. So we are using in a reverse way. So 100 means it gives us the output as T. All right, so just the reverse of, exact reverse of the ASCII values. Okay, so not very useful, but only for certification, these two functions can be a very good candidates. All right, so the ASCII is a number, so you get output as a number, and for character, you get output as a string. So if you observe here, it is ABC. That means the output of this function is a string. If you remember both of them, then it's more than sufficient. Okay, let's move to the next one, which is very useful one, which is contains. Okay, double click that and observe here how many inputs I have to pass. I need to pass 2 inputs here. See, for every function, you have to remember 3 things. What is the input of that function? How many inputs I have to pass? What is the output of that function? So you have to remember 3 things every time you make use of a function. All right, so what is the input? How many inputs? And what is the output? That's it. So if you remember these 3 things, by even looking at this when you're typing, then that is more than sufficient. So now it requires 2 inputs separated by comma, and I have to pass them. Okay, so now both are strings. Now let's say here, let's put it here, the original string is, let's close this for a second and let's put it complete thing. So this is my first string. String can be like this or even a line, isn't it? Like this. So I would say this as a string. Everything inside the single quotations, comma, close the bracket. Is a valid calculation valid? Yes. So what is this function means? You have to pass a string and a substring. Is this a string having this substring? That means, so Tableau checks that, is this group of characters available in this characters? So is this word or is this a string available in this original string? So that means here we will get yes or no. That means it is a Boolean values. That means it is a true or false. So Tableau uses true or false, and what is the symbol for that is true/false. This is what you should find out when you see the output here. So currently it is ABC, but the moment I hit apply, take a look here. So it says T/F. So that means it tells you whether it is true or false. Okay, let's see that. Let's drag this and find out what is the answer. So it says true. Now the question here is it case sensitive? This function is very important for Tableau server point of view, because with this we can really restrict so much of data to the end users, right? So this is one function which is very useful for Tableau server point of view. Okay, so now the question comes here is it a case sensitive or not? If I say capital E, will it give the answer true or false? Observe here. So the moment you click apply, it says it is false. That means contains is a case sensitive function. It should definitely match the case as well, otherwise it's going to tell you false. Remember this point because it is very, very important for many activities which you can do in generating the reports. If you are validating something. Okay, so contains is a function which takes input as one string and another string. This is a string, this is a substring. Right, and the output is a boolean which says true or false. Very simple, straightforward function. Okay, let's look at the other functions now. So I'll just keep comment here so that it remains on the screen. Oh, we didn't save this yet. Are we in the correct path? Okay, so this is August 1st. Takes a second to save that. Right. Then let's expand and let's see the another one ends with. Okay, so the another function we have here is ends with. Can I write lowercase here like this? Because I don't want to double click this function and I want to write here in the lowercase. That means the functions are they case sensitive. All right, so let's take a look. And so ends with, I'm not getting any inputs here, but okay, I have not applied that here. So ends with, it is prompting two inputs again. Give me a string, give me a substring. Okay, I'll pass the same thing here. So what I have here, I'll pass the same thing. So ends with, oh, it says calculation valid. So what is the point here? The functions are not case sensitive. Very, very, very important point. So the functions are not case sensitive. You can write it in lowercase, uppercase, camel case, Pascal case. There are many cases. So you can write it in any way you want. So something like this, you can write it. So absolutely it is valid. Okay. All right. And now what is this ends with function doing? Very simple to understand. Is this a string ending with this string? Is this a string ending with this string? So how it compares, it doesn't compare word by word, it compares a character by character. Remember, every string functions, it checks for character by character. Now, it's okay, this is matching, but the last word is lowercase and here it is uppercase. Now, what answer you would get here? Observe here. So again, you are getting false. So ends with also returns the Boolean value. And when you say that, so now you can see that it's saying true. So is a string ending with gmail.com is a string ending with the .com. So I'm validating so many websites in my data and I need to find out so how many websites are ending with the .com and ending with the .org or ending with the .aspx. So I want to find out that. So then you have to first separate these URLs and then group them and then take a count. But to do that, you have to validate each one of the string. So you can easily validate with this option. And so there you can use regular expressions. It's very easy to use. But we'll talk about that later. So what is the ends with function? It returns true or false again. And is the first string ending with this string? This is what it tells you. And another examination question, we got it this way. So what is the output of this function? So whether it says true or false. So it's a confusing thing, looks confusing, but there is no confusion. Is this a string ending with this string? Both are absolutely same things here. So definitely you have to get the answer as true only, and that's what it says. So if you have two things with the same strings, two words, then also ends with returns true only. Right. So let's look at the next functions then.
Sir, sorry to interrupt in between. If there is a space in between, does it count the space as well?
Yes, it does. So if it is like this, okay, and observe now that the output will be false. So that means here there is no space, but here there is a space. So till here it matches, but here it doesn't match. Two space and one space. So fail. So fail, it is false.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sure. And yeah, so just keep a note or a point. So whenever we say string in any technology, it can be anything. It is a character by character validation. Okay, so just keep that in mind, and that is very useful in regular expressions. Okay, that's good. Now let's look at the another very useful function, which is find. Okay, let's talk about the next function. Very useful function, and let's see what is that. So the function name is find. Okay, now I want to select this function like this. Now if you observe carefully, this function takes inputs as three different inputs. So you have to pass three inputs, but if you observe carefully again, the third input is coming in a square bracket. So now again observe. String, substring, and in the square brackets it is something saying as start. What is the meaning of a square bracket? So square bracket indicates it is a optional. It is not mandatory. So that means for this function you can pass either two inputs. So we can pass only two inputs, or we can pass three inputs. So this is a very useful option. So user sometimes he doesn't want to pass the third input. Yes, but only remember when you see the square brackets, only that is called as optional input. All right, so let's take a look. What does this return? And very commonly used function. So let's understand it. Okay. How many inputs now we'll take? We'll take two inputs now, then we'll talk about third input. So here I would like to take the word W, comma. So I want to take the word here, and I don't want to take the word, but I just want to take the word character P. It says calculation is valid. Now observe here. So I'm using a string and one character, then we'll pass a word. Now hit apply. So where is that getting here? So that will be a number format. So output of this function is a number. And what is the output here? So it says 3 as the output. Okay, why it's showing 3 here? So to understand this here, we have to understand how does Tableau calculate this numbering system. So here Tableau uses the concept of index. All right, so internally, so string is a group of characters, and here it makes uses a concept called as index. And in Tableau only, index starts with 1. All right, so index starts with 1, but in other technologies, index starts with 0. Right? Okay, now what is the length of a string now? So this string is having a length as 7 characters, and why it is returning 3? So what you asked here, so in this word where is the word be? Okay, here it is. And what is the position of that character? So the position is 3, so it is giving output as 3. So what is a find function then? Find is a function which returns the position of the character. That means now, can I just modify a little bit without, concluding that too early. Now let's say here, I would say A. Okay, so I want to find out A here and hit apply. Now what is your answer here? So A means, where is A in this word? Okay, here it is there, A, and the number is 2. Maybe that is the reason it is giving 2. But if you also observe, there is the second occurrence of A as well. Now this A has got number 6. Okay, now can we finalize the function find? So what does it do? So find is a function which returns the position of first occurrence of substring, isn't it? So find is a function, so a little important one, so I'm just putting that here, returns the first occurrence of the substring in a string. All right, so what it returns, the first occurrence position of the first occurrence of the string. So let's put it in a complete way now. Okay, so A is coming in which character position? Second position. So that means if it finds this character, then it never goes to find out the second occurrence here. Right? So find is a function, then which is very simple. It returns the position of the first occurrence. Very nice. And now let's say here W is, I just had these 2 words. Okay, and if I give here space, will it return the position of the space? There's no character, I'm just using a space, and if I say apply, does it returns the position of the space? Definitely, because even space is also one character only, right? So space is also one character, and in which position it is coming? It is coming in the 8th position, and this is the first occurrence. All right, and if the string which you are finding is not in the list, let's say I used M, now will it give 0? Will it give null? Will it give error? What is the output? So when it doesn't find out any matching character in this word, then what is the output? It returns 0. So we might think index starts with 0. No, index starts with 1 in W. Just make a note of that point. Right? If there's a not matching character, then it returns 0. So some functions, so somewhere it returns null, sometimes it returns error, sometimes it returns zeros. So we have to remember where it returns what. Okay, now this is a 2 inputs, but let's talk about third input as well. So how we can make use of that function. So find, and this time I want to make use of the word. So this is my favorite word which I use from many years. Okay, you have a very lengthy word, and here I said please find out S. So yes means you have to definitely you pass it in the single characters or the double characters. Now if I say this, what can be the answer here? Alright, so why is that giving error? Somewhere I didn't end that quotation. Okay. So now it says, okay, the first time I'm finding S here, 1, 2, 3. So this is in third position. Only 2 inputs. No, I want to make use of third input. I need to see how does it work. Now I said here, find out, let's say here 3. Okay, so what is happening here? So to understand this, we need to put the numbering system here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll take use of this here. MI, SSI, SSI, PPI. Right, so these are the characters, positions, and these are the numbering system. So I said here, start finding S from the third position. So that means here, if you don't use the third input, by default, the searching will take place from the first position. But what I'm saying here is, so you start searching for S from the third position. That means from this position, you keep on searching for your required value. Okay, if I use now from the third position means, so I'm again seeing the same character S at the same position. So here output, you will get again the same thing, 3. So what is the difference? I'm not finding the difference. Very good. Now observe the difference. Find out I, where is it coming? Let's remove this second count. It's very important for your day-to-day use. So just say apply. So where is I coming here? It is coming in the second position. This is very clear to me. But if I say comma, start searching for I from the third position. That means now what happens? Now it doesn't consider M, it doesn't consider I, because you said start from third. Okay, then it starts searching from here to here. So in this word, where is I coming now? 1, 2, 3. Okay, I is here. What is the position of I again? 5. So now this should return the output as 5. So hit apply and you should see output as 5. So that means if we use the optional value, then we can find, or sorry, we can start searching for the required character from the position where I want to search. If you don't pass the third input, then it starts looking at the beginning. But if you give any position here, then it starts searching from that point. It will keep on searching. All right, so I just want to see whether you understood this or not. So if I change this to B again, sorry, let's say I only, but what is the output of this one? What is the output now? If I want to say apply here, what can be the output? Can you put your answers in the chat window? 8. Find the word I from the 6th position. That's what we're asking. So 6th position means, okay, from here to here you have to search for I. Okay, so I is coming here, so it is 8. So the answer should be 8, isn't it? Okay, so hit apply and look at here, apply. So it should return 8. Very commonly coming question in the certification. Okay, and even I'll tell you the word also, what it comes in the certification. So they are using the word calculation. So the word here is calculation, and they are using here A, and they are using some number here, 3. Okay, so what can be the output here? So this is the question which I saw 2 to 3 people saying that this is the question we got. Okay, so yeah, it should be 7. So third position means I can ignore that and in this, where is A? So A is coming here. So what is this position? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 is the answer. Yes, that's true. That's good. So we have covered one certification question as well. That's nice. So what is important here in this function is we try to understand how to make use of two inputs, and more importantly, how to make use of the optional value. And this will be denoted in the square bracket. So that is very important for me at this point. Okay, that's nice. Now, very similar lines, you have another function which is find nth. And this is an interview question. What is the difference between find and find nth? Can you please explain? So this will be the interview question. So to answer that, we need to know first what is the differences between find and find nth. So first point, how many inputs we have here? 3. Is it mandatory? All 3, is it mandatory? Yes, it is mandatory. So the first difference, find function, we can use 2 or 3 inputs, but find nth, we have to pass 3 inputs. It is mandatory. There is no optional value here. Okay, now what is the main difference here? So it is asking string, substring, and occurrence. All right, let's use the same thing here. Calculation, comma. So, okay, my substring is A, and is it third mandatory? Yes, it is mandatory. And I said 1. So very simple to understand this function. Where is A coming for the first time in this string? So put the question yourself. So where is this A coming for the first time in this string? What is that location? Okay, so hit apply. So it tells you the answer as 2. So A is in the second position in this string. Okay, I want to find out where is the second occurrence of A in this string. Okay, second occurrence 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Here it is A. So this is the second occurrence. So hit apply, then it gives you where is the second time, yes, sorry, A coming in this calculation. Now, how do we define find nth? So find nth is a function which returns the position of the occurrence of the string. Right, so it is giving you the position, at which position you are able to see that character. Okay, looks very easy, isn't it? So that's the only difference between find and find nth. But now what I want to have here is, so I'll just put this as it is. What is the output? Okay, instead here I'll say 1. So simple confusion, then little complicated confusion. What will be the output of this function with these inputs? Okay, so can you help me? What will be the output? Think about it and answer. 6. So I'm asking 3 things here, 3 things, but you are saying output as a 6, output as 5, 678. All right, so this is how people confuse you with these strings. Okay, so another answer. So people are inclined to 6. Very nice. Let's see the output here. All right, so click apply. I would see output as 6. So why not 6, 7, 8? So what it is doing here is So it considers now, so these three things, and it is trying to find out where is this. Okay, it is available here. But where is this position? So where is that matching? So this word is matching in this word at the 6th position. So it always looks at the position, that means the string location, the character locations. So these three characters are matching at this point. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So L position has 6. So the output is 6. This is a system test question. So they asked in a paper and they asked him like, what is the output of this function? Okay, so don't get confused, even though if you use single character or a group of characters, if the first occurrence is matching, then it looks at only the first character. Very similar to ASCII example. Okay, it's nice. So that is find nth, and I'll give you one simple task at the end. So you have to solve that problems. Okay, so we saw find nth, and eState. Okay, we might be surprising. So why date function coming in the string function? Isn't it? Yeah, it is little weird, but let's take a look. So why they put eState function in this list? So it is asking input as a string, right? And one important point here, remember, this is very, very useful. Any function which starts with is, then the output of that function will be Boolean values. Boolean means either true or false. So any function in Tableau which starts with is, then it returns either true or false. Okay, now let's look at what is the input I have to pass to this function. So I need to pass something in a string format. Okay, so now in a string format, so let's pass here some string. Let's say Tableau. Now Tableau is evaluating, is this a date? So what you are passing, is that a date? Definitely no. So it comes result as false. Okay, so can I pass something which reflects like a date? So that means the month wise. So today is August 1st, 2020. So I don't want to pass 2020. I just want to pass 20. Right, so I'm testing. So whether it returns true or false. Okay, so let's hit apply. So is that a date? So it definitely says it is a date. Right, so you can pass 2020 as well. So it says yes, it is a date field because Tableau understood that this contains year, month, and the date. Okay, so that's another simple function which is date, which returns either true or false. And the remaining functions, that's left, right, trim. Yeah, it's very interesting and very simple functions. These are the Excel functions only. Observe the inputs. That is what is important for us. Sorry, where it went. Left function takes two inputs. So let's just take a string here. Hello. And I said, how many number of characters you want? I want 3 characters only. So that means from the left, it picks up only 3 characters. So if you hit apply, then I should see only the first 3 characters. If I say like 10 characters, now what happens? So will it give error? No. So it just try to read number of characters it has got, and then it's trying to give, okay, you have only these many characters. So if I say 1, so it says only H. And similarly left, you have right. I don't want to stress too much on these left to right functions. because it's a very simple, straightforward functions. So from the right, so give me number of characters. I said give me 3 characters from the right, so it gives these 3 characters. Okay, and so that covers left and right. And another useful function is a length function. So what is the length of the string? So what is the length of the string? Any string which you want to put here. So Saturday. So how many characters you have? I have 8 characters in this string. Does it consider spaces as well? Definitely it considers even spaces, special characters, numbers, symbols, anything you have. So everything considered as a single character. Okay. Another simple function, which is a length function. And another function is a lower, so which converts upper to lower and lower to upper. And if everything is like this, and if I say lower, then it converts into the lower case. And even if you have something like this, so some characters are upper, some characters lower, still everything it converts into the lower case. And on a similar lines, you have the upper function. Very boring functions, isn't it? So there's no technical concepts here, so just function, Excel functions. Okay, so lower, upper is done. And little important, which is the trim functions, left trim, right trim. So we'll talk about that as well. So when we will use these string functions means when the incoming data is not in the right format, or you want to split some strings, or you want to retrieve only few things from the strings, like last 4 characters of this particular column, then you can use these functions. So we'll see the examples as well. So trim, and let's say there's a lot of space here and even a lot of space here. So if I just say trim, so it removes the left side spaces, it removes right side spaces. So hit apply, you will see without spaces. But if I use here left trim, L trim is for left trim. So hit apply, so that means it is removing these spaces here. But you don't really see there is a spaces here. But if I use R trim, then you should see that there are spaces in before the string. So trim is just removing the spaces from the left, from the right, and from both the sides. Okay, so not much to stress on that. Little interesting.
Sir, I have doubt. I mean, what if we have space in between? W is easy. Yeah, I mean, if you want to remove the space between W,
So if
easy.
we use trim, then what happens? It removes the spaces only here and only here. So it doesn't remove spaces between. All right, so it doesn't remove the spaces here. So my
How can
requirement,
we achieve?
remove that. Then there is a function which is replace.
Okay.
So what you want to replace? Spaces. Yeah, so use that accordingly. So tell that in which position you have spaces, and then replace that with this replace function. Isn't it? That is one way, but the second way is very easy. So what I can do is, if you want to remove spaces and then join them, then I would say split this field wherever you find space and then join back them without spaces. So that is the easiest way. Okay, we'll see that. How do we do that now? So let's make use of a split function. which is here, right? So which was just down the line. And observe here, give me the string, give me the delimiter, that means how you have to split the string, and after you split, which one you want to have. That means that this is my string, so I can split this string based on the empty spaces. So if I divide this string based on empty spaces, now this is one piece, this is second piece, and this is a third piece here. Now this function, split function, asks you how you want to split based on space, token number. So which number you are looking for. Okay, let's say here, this is my string. So W is easy. This is my string. And how you want to split based on the space. So give that space, comma, and which token you want to have. So once I split it, you will have three pieces. Which piece you want to have? First piece, please. Now you see only one word. And now I want second. Okay, so take the second. Now I want third. Take the third. Hit apply. Now I'm getting individual words. Sir, my requirement is to just remove these spaces. How do we do that? So if you want to do that, so what we can do here is, let's find out here. So there are multiple ways of doing that if you want to do that. So I'll say here number one, C1, and put that here. And here I'll say, just give me the first word, apply. Okay. Similarly, create another calculated field, C2, and here say, oh, I need second. Okay, apply. And then do the same thing in a third way, and this time the third. Okay, very nice. Right now, what I want that without spaces. Okay, what you can do here is C4, and you want now without spaces. So just to drag this field and say here plus, drag the second, plus, drag the third. Okay, so now there you have like three calculated fields. I'm combining them into another calculated field. And then drag and drop this here. So you should find that without any spaces. So one way, so you have so many ways, but what we learned here, if I do like this, then I understood that I can drag calculated fields into another calculated field, isn't it? So something new. So I can drag these into the calculated fields and I can combine them, concatenate them using the plus operator. And I can show that option here. Okay, so this is one way. And what is the other way? Can I just use the replace function? Okay, let's take a look at it. Now let's go to the string function, and the another function which we had is replace. Okay, now what you want to replace here? Can I use this function here? Observe. So W is easy. How does this function work? So here it is asking you, this is a string. Yes, that is true. And what you want to replace in this string. Now, if I say, please replace here, easy, with the word difficult. Okay, so what happens here? So what happens here? So it's the simple one. So replace the word easy with this word difficult, isn't it? So that's what we are seeing here. So if I say that, Let's drag and drop it here. And you see that the word got replaced. Okay, so can I now replace the spaces between them? Okay, how do we do that? So is it possible? So we can play with it as we want. So what you want to find out is, I'll take just these three things here, copy, right, and I'll just use the same thing, but this. Okay, so what I'm doing here, so if you find these characters in your string, so then just replace that with this. All right, so let's use this here. So apply, and okay, are you getting any spaces? No, no spaces. Yeah. Right, so I just replace that with these characters. So you might ask here, sir, I have a string of 10 different words. So a paragraph we have. So if you want to replace the words here, then you have to do a lot of different things here, isn't it? So you have to take each single word and then break it and then do it. So instead of doing that, let's say we have that requirement here. So I'll create one small calculated field, and let's put it here. Today is Saturday, and it is 9:30. Right, so we have a string like this. Let's go to, we have to split now. I want to split these and I want to join them. So what we can do is another way. Go to the data source page, right, and let's look at the calculated field. So where is that field? Here is that field. So it has got a lengthy text, isn't it? Now your requirement is to remove the spaces between them. So I cannot create those many calculated fields. Okay, is there any small automated way or a simple way doing that? Yes, there is another way of doing that. So now click on this drop down and you will find the split function here. The same function only, but you don't need to do anything here. So you have two different ways, split and custom split. So just click on split. And so how you want to split? Yeah, just use the space and just say okay. And observe here. So now everything should be okay. Sorry, what happened? I want all. Sorry, I didn't select this option. So I said just first. That means only give me first word, but I have to say all, and let's say okay. And then observe here that is now splitted into different columns here. Now you just have to use these columns, just create a small calculated field and then drag all of them using the plus symbol. So go to the sheet. Now you can see this many calculated fields. And then just create a small calculated field, and then you have to drag and drop all of them into this, but not with commas. Just replace that with plus operators. We really don't have these kind of requirements, but if you have, so you can do this way. So we learned a different way of splitting a column. So we can do that from the data source page, and I can also do that from the worksheet level as well. Okay, so where is another one which is missing here? Say comma plus. So calculation should be valid. So apply and remove that, and let's put that here. So how to show a complete string? This is a complete string. So we learned different way of splitting options here, and we also tried to look at how to use the replace function. And let's look at, did we miss anything before? Yeah, we have to see max and minimum. So we were looking at split function and we were looking at the replace function. And upper is uppercase, so trim is done, starts with, yeah, it says ends with and starts with, both are same. And there is one function where I missed it, which is the mid function. Yeah, we'll discuss these three, and then I'll give you something which you can try and sort it out. What is maximum and minimum doing in a string function? Because it is not a number. So what is a maximum function return? So what does it do here in a string? Interesting function. Maximum of, oh, I'm getting the same expressions here. Okay, so if I say maximum of apple and let's say here another fruit, what is an answer for this question? It's very funny, isn't it? So maximum means you have to compare the value. So here, what is the value? Is it in terms of price? Definitely no. So if you hit apply, so you will get one answer here. Interesting one. Let's take calculation 5. And okay, so that means orange is a bad, is very maximum, but apple is a bad. Oh, looks like that. And if I use this, oh, I'm getting this. On what basis it is calculating this? A comes first, isn't it? And B comes next. So again, it is trying to look at the ASCII values of these characters. So which one comes first? Capital A, capital B. What is the ASCII values there? So capital A is 65, capital B is 80, isn't it? So that's why it is coming first. So which is a maximum? 80 is a maximum number. So that's why we are getting this word. So that means in simple terms, it looks at the alphabetical order, but behind the screens, it is trying to look at the ASCII values here. So now if I use the lowercase, let's say capital A and lowercase. Now if I hit apply, oh, it's still A. So capital A is 65 and small a is 97. It still says capital A only. Okay, so I was expecting that it should take the 97 here. So something strange. So I was expecting small a because it is 97, but it is not the case. Okay, let's look at it. So lowercase and uppercase. So uppercase is taking the priority. Okay, that's good. So we have to look back at the documentation if something got changed again. So we have to validate that. Yeah, I'll just make a note of this point. This is for me, so not for you. Oh, so we cannot leave the minute things as well. Max function for capitals and lowercase. Okay, let's put that and I'll take a look. So why it got changed? Okay, so for now, what do we understand? So it looks like the alphabetical order, capital is given the first priority. And so we'll just remember that, and then we'll again validate one more time. And is it same if I use a minimum of 2 strings? Okay, let's say A. So minimum, yes, it's just opposite of that here. Okay, and very important function, which is a mid function. All right, so you have a lengthy description, but I'll tell you in a simple way. Submit is a function where you can start reading the string from the middle. Let's say I have a string, tomorrow is a holiday. Okay, and how many inputs you have here? So it has got 3 inputs. The third is optional. So first we'll try to look at 2, and then we'll look at third one. So I said here the start is, I said here, let's say 5. What will be the answer? Now if you look at it, it should start from the 5th character and it should give me the result. So that means 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it is starting from the 5th position and it is reading the string. So if you want to say just these words, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So if I say here 10, so read the string from the 10th character or 10th position. So then we should get only these words. And what is the other third option here is, this is the length. So how many characters do you want to retrieve from the 10th position? I said give me just 5 characters. So now observe, so from the 10th position give me only 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I should get only these characters on the screen. So that's what it is displayed. All right, submit is a function where we can retrieve the string from anywhere we want, and we can control the number of characters we want to retrieve. Okay, that's nice. Now let's quickly look at anything is missing in this list. Upper trim starts with split space. Okay, so I just have to talk about space. Space is another simple function and a very different function, so I have never seen before in any other technologies. So space is a function which introduces spaces between the words. So if I say something like this, hello plus, and I said here, so how many spaces you want to introduce? 5 spaces between hello and the word W. So what we are doing is, so there's a 2 words here, and I want to separate these 2 words with 5 spaces in between. So if you hit apply, so it creates 5 spaces in between. So very funny function. So where I can see the word space. Right. Okay, so if I say 10, then I should get 10 different spaces. Right, and let's look at what else we missed here. Trim replace. So don't worry about these 4. So we will definitely talk about it. And the minimum, mid, maximum, length, left, is, date, find. Very good. Now what I want here is using only these string functions. This is the exercise. So try to complete this exercise. Let's take the product ID. What I want here is, I want to have only these numbers. So I want a column with only these numbers. Right, so I could just put that person here. So with these numbers only, I want to do some analysis. So I want only those numbers. Find out. Retrieve only numbers from the product ID. Okay. All right. So whatever function you want to use, you can definitely use that. And the second, customer names. So here what I need here is What I need here is display customer names as separately into this. Show only first names and show only last names. But here, not. So do it in at least 2 different ways. Alright, so one way is very easy, but the second way is little different. But I don't want to tell you like which way, which functions you have to use here. Only use string functions. Only in these functions, with these functions. So you have to tell me, you have to display me only the first names. I don't want the second names. In another sheet, display only last names. I don't want first names. Okay, so try to do that in 2 different ways. And okay, so this is a little real-time related question. So you have order ID here. Where is order ID? Take the order ID, and if you observe, the first word of the order ID says CA, and if you scroll down, all right, so if you scroll down, you have got US as well, isn't it? Now what you find out here is, what is the total number where you see CA? What is the total number where you see US? So that means my question would be, find out how many orders you got from US and from Canada. So the condition is, so orders starting with CA can be treated as Canada, and orders starting with US can be treated as United States. All right, so what you have to do, you have to split, or you have to retrieve only the word US from this list, and you have to tell me how much is the number of orders. Remember, I'm asking the number. So how many you got here for US and how many you got for Canada. All right, so retrieve that. And if you want to go in depth again, so how many orders you got from CA in 16, in 17, in 18, so different years. So get me that list here. All right, so you have 17, you have 18, you have 19 as well. All right, so if you want to do one level more, so find out the number of orders from Canada in all the 4 years. Don't drag any order dates here. So just find out from this column only. So don't drag order date. That's a very simple thing, but don't do that. Right, so try to do this from this approach. Okay. All right. So that's the questions which you have to solve, and let me know how it goes. So that's all here for today. So we did here the string functions, and tomorrow we'll talk about another function. Tomorrow means it's on Monday. All right. And so what time we will meet again today? So those who have submitted the sheets, so I'll let you know in some time, because I have got some doctor appointment, so I have to leave now, but I'll post you in the group, so what time we can meet, if it is convenient or not. If it is convenient for everyone, so then we can definitely meet. I think only 3 people are submitted that, so we 3 will meet up at that point of time. Okay, so before we wind up, any questions we have? Okay, so that's good. So